Hey there YouTube, and welcome to another episode of ZaxChat where we talk about movies and more. Sorry I've been away, it has been a very busy 3 months, but I am back now. I'm keen to get back into the reviews, and I want to do that. Let's just jump straight in, because today we're talking about... Oh my god, that's Jason Bourne. I swear those lines have been used in virtually every single Bourne movie, and I kind of dig that because whenever the antagonist of these films find out that they're dealing with Treadstone's favourite son, it's always good to see that they're scared, because this guy is a badass. So Jason Bourne picks up about 10 years after the events of the Bourne Ultimatum, and as you'd expect, Matt Damon's Jason Bourne is thrown back into the fray to deal with situations and people from his past. Now, I really enjoy the Bourne franchise. I even like the Bourne legacy. Hey, don't judge me. I like Jeremy Renner, and I just happen to have a massive man crush on Oscar Isaac. But when I heard that Matt Damon had agreed to come back for another Bourne film and that Paul Greengrass was going to be back to direct, I got very excited. Hearing that they were going to be joined by the likes of Tommy Lee Jones and Vincent Cassel and Alicia Vikander, this is shaping up to be a really excellent film. But is it? Yes. Ish. Let's talk about it. Look, this is a good, suspenseful action film. As far as the performances go, like I said, Matt Damon's a badass. You know this, I know this, he knows it, and he's a great actor too. Now, he doesn't really have a whole lot of dialogue in this film. In fact, I don't actually remember the character of Jason Bourne saying anything that was significantly memorable. It worked with the story being what it was. Tommy Lee Jones was great as the antagonist in this film. Tommy Lee Jones is Tommy Lee Jones. He's great, and I loved him from the very first time I saw The Fugitive as a kid, and it was great to see him back up on the big screen doing something that he was clearly enjoying. Vincent Cassel was a really great addition to the cast as the asset of this film. He handled the physicality of the role, and he's got just a very commanding screen presence. Like, you just pay attention to the dude whenever he's on screen. And he really did portray this professional, if somewhat unhinged and impulsive assassin. But definitely saving the best for last, Alicia Vikander. She nails it. This girl nails everything that she's in. I fell in love with her as Ava in Ex Machina, and ever since then, I've just been addicted to watching this woman on screen. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. reboot that was done earlier this year, she was the best part of that. She was independent, she was strong-willed, but she also had a compassionate and a vulnerable side that gave her character a lot of diversity. And I really enjoy seeing that kind of diversity in a character. But what are you looking for when you go to see a movie like this? Intrigue and action. Now, on one of those fronts, this movie delivers quite well. Heads up, it's not intrigue. I really felt like the intrigue of this film was lacking, especially in comparison with the other Bourne movies. The other Bourne movies had so many little details. You really had to have multiple views of those movies before it all came together cohesively. Felt like this plot was very basic and simple and safe. And unfortunately, that seems to be how a lot of movies are going these days, and that's a really disappointing thing. But I'm going to come back and talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. But in regards to the action sequences in this film were pretty damn cool. I white-knuckled it through all the chase sequences, and when someone lands a hit, man, you really felt the hits connect in this film, and if that's what you're looking for in an action sequence, I think you will enjoy Jason Bourne. All in all, I'm going to give Jason Bourne a 7 out of 10. While it was a good, suspenseful ride, it suffered from a lack of intrigue, and it doesn't hold a candle to the past films of the franchise, and also it didn't really need to be made. Yes, it was great to see Matt Damon back and great to have Paul Greengrass back behind the director's chair, but at the end of the day, was this movie necessary? No, it really wasn't, and it showed. Circling back to what I said earlier about the plot not having a lot of intricacy to it, this is something that really frustrates me, and it's not in Jason Bourne in particular. I gave the movie a 7 out of 10. It's a reasonable score, but it's entertainment in general these days. We're being served up, now more than ever, some of the most mindless, dumb forms of entertainment the world has ever seen. And it's because studios are so worried that if they make something even the slightest bit complicated, they're going to lose viewers, and they're going to lose money. This is where these dumb forms of entertainment are coming from. How else do you explain the fact that you can turn on the radio and listen to music made by Nicki Minaj? I don't even know if it can be classified as music. Or the fact that Chris Pine just recently came out and said of Star Trek Beyond that it is impossible in 2016 to make a cerebral Star Trek film. Even though the source material of Star Trek happens to be one of the most cerebral and morally challenging and innovative pieces of work ever put together. Or how about the fact that Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which Comes out at the end of this year. Super excited for it, by the way. But when it was initially announced, that movie was called Star Wars Anthology Rogue One. But officials at Disney changed it because they were so terrified that people wouldn't understand what the word anthology meant. There's two problems with that. First of all, you're Disney and you own Lucasfilm. You're not losing money over a word. Second of all, if someone doesn't understand a word, they can pick up a dictionary and look it up. It's in the A's, so it's pretty close to the front. Or they can jump on Google and find out. And when someone does that, they learn something. And when they learn something, their brain expands. And when your brain expands, it helps you become a better person. But the fear that these studios have about losing viewers over complexity and subsequently losing money, they're not baseless fears. They're grounded in reality. And that is because these days, so many of us have the attention spans of a brain-damaged goldfish. We have largely lost the ability to sit quietly and think on a subject and deconstruct something in our minds and put the pieces together. We can't sit still without pulling out our phones or tablets or scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, whatever it might be. I'm not blameless in this either. I do it too. And it becomes even more annoying when you know that you're doing it. It is such a hard pattern to break. Please don't think that what I'm saying is entertainment itself is bad, because that's not the case. This is a movie review show, for goodness sake. I love movies. What I'm saying is that dumb, mindless forms of entertainment, whilst they do have their place and can sometimes be enjoyable, in the rate and the frequency that they're being served out to us today, they can be super destructive to your own mind and to the world. The point I'm making is this. When you're choosing entertainment, choose something that challenges you. Choose something that makes you think. Choose something that affects you on an emotional level. And if you find a piece of art, whether it be a book or a movie or a painting or a piece of music or spoken word poetry or whatever it might be, if you find something that gives you an emotional reaction, that even makes you cry, hold onto it, because that is rare, that is special. And I guarantee an emotional reaction like that makes the dreams come true of the person or the people who created that art. The first step in this is to have the discussion. Get as many people involved as we can and talk about these things. Because if we can break out of the vegetative state that these corporations want us in so they can serve up this sloth trop of bullshit, then maybe we can start changing the world a little bit for the better. You know, instead of watching that next episode of The Bachelor, why not pick up that book of poetry you can never seem to finish and get through it? Again, instead of listening to the music of Nicki Minaj, why not find out why people who listen to Dave Matthews Band are so happy and so positive all the time? Instead of flicking over to MTV and watching that next episode of Teen Mums or whatever it is, do some research on people like Erin Brockovich, or the countless other single mums out there who are changing the world with their hard work and their dedication. Okay, things got kind of heavy there, guys, but I hope you enjoyed the video. I really want your comments and your thoughts. Tell me what you thought of Jason Bourne, and tell me if you have the same fears that I do about the state of the entertainment world these days. The more people we can get talking about these things, the more likely it'll be that things can improve for the better. My next video will be the review of the much talked about Suicide Squad. That's going to be a fun one. I end today's video with the immortal words of the Green Brothers, DFTBA, and best wishes.